My name is Svetlana, I'm 51. My husband and I have lived together for almost 30 years. When I look back, I find it hard to believe that there was ever real passion between us. Now in our apartment in Pinsk there is only habit, silence and rare words at dinner. Our sons Sasha and Misha have grown up, moved away and are living their own lives. One in Grodno, the other in Kiev. We are left alone, but sometimes I feel lonely, as if I live in a glass box. 6 months ago we moved to a new building, closer to the city center on Krasnovezhnia Street. The apartment is spacious and bright, but there is too much air and too little fun. My husband is still completely immersed in work, leaving early and returning late. Sometimes it seems like it has become part of the sofa and the remote control. He remains silent, as if this is how it should be, and looks at me less and less as a woman. Even in the summer when I wear my favorite light beige dress with a boat neckline and a thin belt, he doesn't notice a word or a look. In the spring I realized that I couldn't go on like this. You need to at least shake up your body. Fitness center has opened not far from the house. New, clean, and has floor-to-ceiling windows and mirrors. I went there on Monday morning in simple knitwear, a little shy after all. I'm not a girl anymore. But to my surprise, there were many people like me there. Women over 40, well-groomed, strong, and with eyes that still had a thirst to feel alive. 2 weeks have passed. Got hooked. Treadmill, some yoga, shower, and back home. But one day a man sat down on the exercise machine next to me. He nodded politely and looked into her face. "Excuse me, you are from apartment 24, right? I, Igor, live opposite 25th. Turns out that you and I are neighbors." Froze. His voice was warm, soft. Igor was 56, but he looked cheerful and fit, wearing a black t-shirt and light-colored sweatpants. Thick hair with a glimmer of gray. Strong arms. His smile was unobtrusive but somehow human. Man who knows how to listen. From that day on we began to meet in the hall, more and more often. Sometimes we crossed paths at the locker rooms, sometimes we warmed up together. He was an interior designer and worked from home. His wife, according to him, lived in another region, temporarily under contract. I didn't ask for details. 3 weeks later he suggested, "If I'm in the mood after training, we can go to the coffee shop around the corner. Have a great latte there, I recommend it." For some reason I couldn't immediately say no. We met at a cafe on Thursday. He was waiting for me at the window. I came in a light dress with a belt and low-heeled shoes. Almost like a date, only without the confession. "I haven't had coffee with men for about 10 years. Chuckled. But I haven't met women with whom I could talk about everything. No stress. We sat for almost 2 hours. The conversation flowed easily. He looked into the eyes, listened, and laughed quietly. As we parted, he said, "Svetlana, you are very genuine. That's rare these days." I walked home and felt my cheeks burning. It was not love. Felt like someone saw me as a woman again. Week later he invited me for tea again. I agreed. And then again. And one more thing. We became something like friends, but it all seemed too fragile, like fine porcelain that already has small cracks, but you can still drink from it. One day he asked, "What upsets you most about your marriage?" I remained silent. Lack of gaze. He hasn't looked at me for a long time. As if I don't exist. Igor sighed and replied, "It seems to me that each of us wants to be noticed, even if we remain silent about it." That evening I looked at myself in the mirror for the first time for a long time, taking off my earrings. The woman in the reflection was not old, not tired, not broken. She was just waiting for someone to wake her up. After that spring, everything began to change, although not immediately. I still woke up at 7 a.m. Made oatmeal for my husband, ironed his shirts. But something inside felt like it had shifted. I started wearing perfume more often, the one that had been gathering dust on the shelf for almost a year. Started wearing amber earrings again, which I once bought in Jermala. Igor never made a single unnecessary movement, but his gaze, his voice, his charm, all of it was like thin silk, enveloping my loneliness. One day in early June he suggested, "Svetlana, if the weather is nice, maybe we could take a walk along the embankment in the evening. The city is beautiful in the summer." I hesitated. Evening walk, man, not husband. This is no longer just tea in a cafe. It is a step beyond the border. But for some reason I said, "Let's do it." I put on a light gray dress, linen shirt, and a thin belt on my waist. Sneakers for comfort. Minimalistic, simple but feminine. Curled my hair slightly and applied a little lip gloss. We walked along the Saz. Yes, we went to Gomel, a neighboring city. Beautiful there. He offered to show me the park, which was being restored. We walked in silence, then laughed, then ate ice cream by the fountain. Felt like I was 25 again. He talked about his youth, about failed projects, about how after 50 life suddenly becomes very quiet. Too much. Sometimes I think that we all live not the way we want, but the way we are used to. He said, looking at the water, "Do you want to live differently?" He looked at me carefully, as no one had looked at me for a long time. "I want someone to be there who feels, who is not afraid to be alive." After these words, I felt a pang in my chest. We walked on in silence until we reached a bench by the river. He sat down, I was next to him. Then he took my hand, carefully, as if asking, "Can I?" I didn't remove it. You know, light, I miss human warmth, even just touches. He didn't kiss me, but his hand remained close to mine, and that was enough to make the evening different. The next day I woke up with anxiety. I felt like I had gone too far. In the morning my husband said, "I'll be late today, I have a meeting with my partners." Wait. I nodded and continued stirring the tea in my mug. We didn't even look at each other. Igor wrote, "Last night, thank you. And felt this alive in a long time. If you don't mind, I'd like to see you again." I didn't know what to answer. We ran into each other at the gym on Saturday morning. He came up, smiled, and said nothing. After training in the locker room, I threw a beige sweater over my tracksuit and went out into the hall. He was already waiting. "Let's drink something refreshing," he asked, holding out a bottle of cold lemonade. I thought we were going to pretend nothing happened, I whispered. He leaned slightly towards me. "I can't pretend. But if you want, I will disappear." "No," I answered too quickly. And disappear." We sat down on a bench in the park. The wind pulled at the edge of my sweater and I felt it quietly looking at my collarbones, wrists, hair. And I moved slowly on purpose. Adjusted the hairpin, touched my neck. It was a dangerous game. But I didn't want to stop her. He suddenly said, "If you were free, I would invite you on a trip. To Slavudik, for example, a small town but so beautiful. We would walk, eat poppy seed pies, sit by the water." Smiled. "And I would wear my daisy dress and hoop earrings." He reached out and touched the edge of my earring. "It would suit you." And at that moment I realized I was just playing. I really live in these moments. Finally, July turned out to be hot. Even at night it's stuffy, the windows are open and it's freezing. But the apartment is still like an aquarium. My husband is late as always, tired and silent. It was as if he had become part of the interior. Wardrobe, husband. We didn't fight. We just hardly talked. With Igor, everything happened differently. After every coffee, after every walk I returned home not just with a slight smile, but with the feeling as if someone had taken the blanket off me. I remembered what it was like to feel like a desirable, interesting woman. He never allowed himself to be rude, but his glances, his gestures were so attentive, almost intimate. One day I caught myself choosing lingerie in a store based on how it would look under my blouse if it accidentally touched my back. One day he suggested, "Let's do something unusual. Just a day without rules. Let's go somewhere where there is such a place. A sanatorium by the lake. Near Belovedskia Pushcha. There is almost no one there. We can just walk." My heart sank. A day together, far from the city. I understood how this could end, but I was tired of being afraid. We left in the morning in his silver Renault. I put on a light milky dress with thin straps and a denim jacket over it so as not to be too much. Pulled my hair into a low ponytail, lips neutral gloss. For the trip he turned on a playlist from the 90s. Sector Gaza alternated with Mfira. We both laughed. At the place, everything was as he promised. Quiet lake, greenery, heat rare. Passers-by. We walked along the water, then sat down on a wooden platform. Taking off my sandals, I dipped my feet in the water. He was silent, looking at the horizon, then turned to me. "Svetlana, right? Has it been a while since you allowed yourself to just be yourself? I'm not sure I remember what I'm like." "Remember?" He took my hand. Not timidly, not greedily, with respect. His finger slowly traced a line on my wrist. A chill ran through my body, the skin seemed to breathe. "You know that you have very beautiful hands, so alive." I looked away, said almost in a whisper, "And you are dangerous." "Why?" "Because I want to forget everything that I thought was right." We were silent for a long time. Only the wind, coming from the grass, and our breath. When we got back to the car, he asked, "Do you want me to stop touching you?" I looked at him, seriously, straight into his eyes. "Well, I want you to keep doing this." He pulled off the side of the road slowly. 15 minutes later, we turned off the highway onto an old forest road. He stopped in the shade. No houses, no people, only birds. He reached out to me. Slowly. I didn't pull away. His lips were soft, warm, smelled of mint gum. He ran his hand over my shoulder, pulled down the strap of my dress. I shuddered, not from the cold, but from the memories. Well, one had touched me like that for many years. His palms explored me slowly. Through the thin fabric, through the trembling, through the breath. We were in no hurry. It was like returning to myself, as if I was becoming a woman again, not just a wife, mother, housewife. When we drove back, I sat in silence, looking out the window. Not because it was awkward, but because I didn't want to talk. I wanted to keep it inside. "Do you regret it?" he asked without looking. Not a second. In the evening, I entered the house quietly. My husband was in the kitchen, looking at his phone. "How is your day?" he asked without looking away. "Good." I went to the bathroom, took off my dress. There was a light trace of his palm on my shoulders. Not a bruise. Warmth. I looked in the mirror. The woman in it was different. Not guilty, but awakened. A lot has changed since that day. And most importantly, when I woke up in the morning, I did. And just pull on a robe and put the kettle on. I reached for body cream, chose underwear according to my mood, turned on music in the kitchen. Even the way I walked changed, unhurried but with a slight spring. My husband noticed but said nothing. He didn't seem to know how to react. One day at the end of July, he suddenly said at dinner, "Have you found someone?" I froze. I was picking at buckwheat with a fork. "Why did you decide that? You are different." There is something in the eyes. Before there was only fatigue. I didn't know what to answer. I did. Ain't want to lie. But I didn't want to tell the truth either. I just feel alive again. This bad. I shrug. No, it just unusual. After this conversation, I didn't sleep until 3. I lay in the darkness and listened to him, breathing next to me. Stranger, once native. Igor and I began to meet more carefully. No longer in the gym, not in a cafe, but in deserted places outside the city at his friend's dacha. When he was leaving, there was an old wooden house, the smell of raspberries and dampness. There I was, not a wife. I was myself. In button dresses with base legs, lively fingers that found his hands on their own. Light, he whispered one day, leaning toward me as I sat on the kitchen table. In his shirt. You're not just beautiful, you're like a song. The one that sounds inside even when you're silent. I laughed through my tears, from tenderness and pain at the same time. 'Cause I knew this moment would end, like the summer. On City Day, my husband and I went downtown. He insisted, saying that we should at least go out together sometimes. I put on a mint-colored dress, closed, but with a thin waist. Hair in a ponytail, drop earrings. Igor was supposed to be there. He was doing a design exhibition at the entrance to the library. We met eyes from afar. He didn't come over, but his eyes burned right through me. My husband held my hand and I felt something breaking inside. Because my man is not the one who is next to me, but the one who is silent but looks at me in such a way that my heart pounds in my throat. In the evening, when my husband went to take a shower, I opened the window and stood for a long time, feeling the wind on me. A message came from my phone. Today you were especially beautiful. Could come over. But I wanted you more than ever. Dialed. Me too. I can no longer not be, not feel, not wait. Only the living. He answered briefly. No. Waiting for you tomorrow. That's it. The next morning I packed my bag, put inside some cream, a new shirt the color of baked milk, a notebook, an old photo of me at 24 in a wheat field at tea parting. I told my husband, I'm going away for 2 days to see a friend. Tanya from Rikitsa. Remember? He muttered. Hi. He didn't even ask which train. I left, quietly closing the door behind me. The way in the taxi I looked at my hands. Beautiful hands. Only now I realized it. That day at the dacha it smelled of apples and rosemary. Igor met me in a light gray shirt, barefoot. We didn't speak. He just came up and hugged me. I heard his heart. I did. And hear mine. It merged with his. When he slowly took off my dress and I took off his shirt, I didn't feel shame. I felt the masks disappearing. He touched my shoulders, neck, stomach as if they were jewels. I trembled with tenderness, not with passion. We were lying on an old sofa in a room with colorful curtains. His hand lay under my breast. Warmth. Trust. If only I were different, he began. Don't. We are here. That's enough. In the evening I wrote in a notebook. When a man holds you, it's as if all his silence is inside you. I want to cry. With happiness. Autumn came abruptly. Wind, the smell of wet leaves, and the first cold weather. I still lived in 2 worlds. One was an apartment in Pinsk with my husband, where it smelled of buckwheat and fatigue. The second was at the dacha with Igor, where everything was about touch, the smell of coffee, a look over my shoulder when I tied my hair. But everything, as I felt, could not last forever. The beginning of October, my husband found a notebook, the very one where I wrote poems, thoughts, pieces of memories. He was silent for 3 days. Then in the evening, when I was washing the dishes, he said, Tell me, have you had this for a long time? I dropped the cup. Didn't break it. Just clinked against the sink, as if life had been kind to me in that episode. Forgive me. He sat up straight at the table. His back was tense, his Hands clasped. Who is he? Neighbor. Ugher. We didn't plan this. He chuckled and looked at me. So you missed me so much that you went to someone else. I wanted to scream I missed you. But instead I just sat down opposite him and I missed myself. I disappeared here. Became a ghost. He just reminded me that I was alive. The husband got up and went to the bedroom. I heard him close the door, not angrily but quietly like in church. We didn't talk that evening. And in the morning he went to work as usual. Not a word. Week later Igor said, Svet, you have to choose. I'm not asking to be mine forever. But I can't stand this duality. I stood on his country veranda in a burgundy coat and long suede gloves. Autumn painted the trees around us in the color of separation. I can't do this anymore. I need to know if it is us or not. He was right. I'm tired of lying. I couldn't go home and pretend anymore. I'll talk to him. Today in the evening I was waiting for my husband in the kitchen. Smelled like apple pie and bake, so her hands wouldn't shake. When he came in we need to talk. He silently took off his jacket. I don't love you like I used to. I respect, grateful. But I can't anymore. Hurts me to live as if in a box without windows. I want to breathe. He was silent, then went into the room and returned with that same notebook. You look beautiful in these posts. Real. You really feel that bad with me? Not bad. Me. He came. He looked out the window for a long time, then quietly. If I say that I'm ready to start all over again, it's too late. I was silent, not because I didn't know the answer, but because my heart had already made its choice. Sorry. After 2 days I packed my things. Small suitcase, a coat, jewelry. She wasn't leaving for Igor. She was leaving for herself, for the one who had once gotten lost. Igor arrived in the evening. We silently walked up to our new rented apartment. I rented a corner in a private house outside the city. It smelled of wood and silence. He helped me unpack the boxes and then just sat on the floor next to my bed. You're brave, he whispered, touching my cheek. I was just tired of living a life that wasn't my own. That night we didn't make love. We just lay next to each other. He held my hand, and for the first time in a long time I slept peacefully. Month later my husband sent a message. You were right. We're both to blame. And still, if you ever feel bad, just write. I replied, thank you. I haven't forgotten you either. But now I'm on a different level. With Igor, things didn't develop according to a romantic scenario. We argued, made up, talked about everyday life. But every time he looked at me like no one else had before, I realized I had made the right. One day he asked, what if your husband calls you back? I'll say he understood everything. Smiled. And if yesterday's calendar page is asked to return it to its place, it will be yesterday's again. He silently kissed my hand. And yet, life is not straight. Months later, Igor received an offer to move to Minsk to lead a project for a year. I couldn't leave. I already had a job, a lease, a familiar rhythm. We were standing on the platform. The train was already roaring behind us. He hugged me. Don't promise. Just live. And if you're ever on a train again and see a man who looks at you the same way, come over. And if it's not you, he smiled sadly. Then just think of me and don't regret it. He left. And I was left with a warm coat, earrings, drops, and a notebook where the first line read, she woke up and was no longer sleeping someone else's life. Period.